How's it going, everybody? Your Big Gold Belt Wrestling podcast is live and ready to bring you a packed show tonight. We have so much to get into, spanning the globe in some ways, because we got to talk about Wembley. We got to talk about Dynamite in Champaign, Illinois. We got to talk about Bash in Berlin this weekend. We got to talk about an NXT show in Denver. All that and so much more, folks, because there is a lot going on in the world of pro wrestling. Buckle in. Your Big Gold Belt Wrestling podcast starts right now.
Big Gold Belt, 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 Big Gold Belt. All I really want is that Big Gold Belt, 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 Big Gold Belt. All I really need that Big Gold Belt.
How is it going, everyone? We are so glad you are here with us tonight on the Big Gold Belt Wrestling podcast. Possibly season 4, episode 28. We are just going to keep rolling with the numbering I had last week and continue it right from there. It's in the ballpark, at least. We have a packed show for you tonight with all kinds of stuff going on. I am glad the guys are here with me tonight. We got 2 James to my left and Giant Crab Joel to my right. Guys, how's it going this week?
I'm changing and I'm going to change the episode convention next year so we can stop the foolishness.
something that'll be easier to keep track of.
Yeah. No, I'm good, man. Busy, crazy day, but I'm good.
Yeah, I want to say real quick before we get started to rest in peace to Viano 5. Passed away,
yes.
According to CMLL, at 62 years old. So Ray Mendoza Jr. was his name, but Viano 5 is how I know him and how I grew up watching him. And yeah, man, it's just we're getting old. This is how you know you're getting old. But yeah, it's good run. He's a legend. So Viano 5 gone off to Lucha Heaven.
A legend of Lucha Libre, and definitely someone U.S. fans would know from his time in WCW with Viano 4. So there were lots of appearances for him in the States over the years. While we're at it, then, let's also throw in here really quick the passing of Sid Udy, better known as Sid Vicious, Psycho Sid Justice on his first WWE run. We lost Sid this week to cancer, and God, my little aside, I'm just going to say, for the older folks like me, when Sid first came on the scene in the late 80s, early 90s, for about 4 or 5 years there, he was one of the coolest damn guys around because it's all about him getting in the ring with little damn wimpy dudes, little scrubs, and him killing them. And it was nonstop entertainment. Some of the best squash matches you will ever see are Sid Vicious squashes when he first showed up in WCW. Any other thoughts on the passing? Because Sid was a character. A true character.
He had this insane interview that one time when he was talking about how squash matches was going to go, and he had a conversation with Dean Malenko about what he was going to do to Chris Benoit in the match, and it basically was all about, like, in order for them to essentially get Goldberg over, he had to execute. He had to look good in order for that, so that he could make Goldberg look good. But, like, yeah, is it too late to proclaim him as the king of the squash matches here? Because, man,
if he's not the king, he's definitely in the running. Definitely in the running for great squash matches.
For all the foolishness that you kind of see with him in character at times, he really put out some really good interviews, man. Really did. So he'll be missed. Definitely a legend. One of my favorite characters to play on the WWF In Your House too, the arcade game.
Oh, you're taking it back. There you go. All right, one more thing to get into before we move on to all the stuff that's happening in the last week in pro wrestling. We had one bit of breaking news today that will be playing out over the next month that we'll be coming here at Big Gold Belt Media. Netflix announced today that the long-rumored Mr. McMahon documentary that they've been working on since before COVID, I want to say it was 2020 when it was first announced. Apparently, it is going to see the light of day. It is going to come out. Mr. McMahon, that is titled, is coming to Netflix September 25th. It will be a 6-part documentary series from executive producer Bill Simmons and Chris Smith, who also executive producer of the Tiger King. So there's some names behind this. It's been in development for a long time, and this is going to be interesting because I think the biggest question now is when they started making this, Netflix wasn't in bed with WWE like they are now in bed with WWE with Raw moving there come this November. New Year in the new year.
Yeah. So the filmmakers Chris Smith, he did Tiger King, and Bill Simmons does the 30 for 30 as the EP. So I think there's enough intrigue by just the production side of what we should be in store for this, because the Tiger King, I think, is one of the most viewed documentaries or docuseries on Netflix ever, and really revolutionized the docuseries game, considering how that one just really catapult a lot of other ones that kind of come out of the woodworks, and the styling of how the traditional styling of documentaries had changed. But 30 for 30 also on the ESPN note is also one that just has its own avenue of like storytelling as well as the interview aspect of it. So together I'm really interested in seeing how the production and everything's going to be for this. I forget the subject matter, because we already know that's going to be insane. In fact, if you take a look at what Dark Side of the Ring and how they had all these stories, and all those stories somehow, some way ended up relating to Vince McMahon and his foolishness. Imagine a docuseries that only focuses on the foolishness and then not everything else that was happening around him. So the people that were paid off, the under the table deals. I mean, I don't know how deep this is going to go, but I would imagine with them saying over 200 hours of content, this is about to be one insane ride, and we'll be here to cover it all. So buckle up, as Will would say.
September 25th coming to Netflix. So as we get more info on that over the coming weeks, we will of course be talking about here on the Big Gold Belt podcast.
Once we get embargo information, we'll obviously be dropping it early to that date, ahead of its release date. But tune in once we get there. I'm sure we'll have like a non-spoiler discussion. Then I'm sure we're going to have to get into the deep weaves of everything in a full-blown discussion. Maybe that just becomes the podcast for the week. Who knows? But
there might have to be a separate episode just covering that. We will see.
6 episodes. That's probably an hour each. That's going to be a lot to talk about there, but we'll have the time for sure.
All right. Let's shift gears. Let's get to what we were going to be talking about tonight, because we have a lot going on in wrestling in the last week. So we're going to start at the beginning. Let's start at Wembley. Let's start at All In last Sunday in Wembley Stadium in England. And let's start just right at the top of the card with the big news coming out of the show. Bryan Danielson takes the crown, wins the title in front of his family and everything in Wembley. A hell of a moment against Swerve Strickland. I was hella impressed with the match. It seems to be a very well-received match. I have not seen barely anyone really critiquing it in any kind of way where they're not just like, a lot of people saying, the best performance of Bryan Danielson's career. Praise being heaped on this match. Let's just go around the room here, I guess. Thoughts on Bryan Danielson winning the AEW championship in Wembley Sunday?
Swerve has had one hell of a run, and I think I'm not going to talk much because I want to absolutely throw something at Jamal to see what he thinks here. But we have always been very critical about folks who step in the ring with Bryan Danielson, because he tends to run laps around folks. And I don't know, was it 2 years ago where we were just having the same conversation about another champion who we had nothing but negative things to say about the match, because apparently there was only one wrestler in the ring at the time. Is what I'll say. But I think it's safe to say that the run for Swerve is a big component in terms of why this match, even on paper, was a good deal. But ultimately, the execution, the wrestling, the moments, the storytelling, the crowd, the moment. Even the fact that he lost, he still looked good. And for Bryan Danielson to win, I think it was all the right decisions, probably some of the best booking that I've seen in AEW in a very long time. And this was the huge payoff for the end of this pay-per-view. And I know there were some folks comparing this to last year with MJF and Adam Cole. I mean, they're not even in the same house. Like this may go down as one of their best matches in AEW history, for all intents and purposes that led up to this point, and then the ultimate payoff for it. So, I'm interested to see what's next for Swerve and Danielson, and we'll talk about Dynamite in a minute. But I'm definitely interested to see what happens with Swerve, and can he continue to carry this champion aurora around him even without the title. But Jamal, I hinted at what we talked about 2 years ago.
I'm waiting for this. I know where this is going.
I will allow you, sir, to fully dissect what I'm talking about.
So I'm conflicted because on one hand, the match itself was fine as a match. I don't really care about Swerve, and I really don't care enough about Bryan to garner a championship win. And the thing with Swerve losing the belt, not that he shouldn't have lost it or that he couldn't have lost it, it's that I think everybody kind of knew, or not everybody kind of knew, but it would have made the most sense for him to lose, which takes me out of the match anyway. It's kind of like you're watching a movie, you skip the next 20 minutes, you watch the last 5, okay, it ended the way you thought it would. And that doesn't scream, 26 minutes it says it went, the match went. And it felt like longer because I was just kind of waiting for it to end. And personally, and I said this last week, I really want something unpredictable to happen. You know, as for Ricochet, for example, we talked about. Don't even debut him on the show. Debut him on Dynamite. Everybody and their mother's waiting for him. He came, they did a thing. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how most people feel. Get down in the comments, let us know if you felt the same way as the crowd in the audience. But honestly, meh. So the same thing with Bryan for such a storied career. And I'll give AEW credit for billing this, the video package that preceded the match as this eulogy, thanks for coming type of a thing. The final countdown, all the metaphors that they could throw a shake and stick at. I get it. But it's kind of like, well, are we really going to pretend that he's not going to win? And then he goes on to win it. And I'm like, okay, yeah, this is what we're here for. I will give him credit, though. The show was a crisp 4 hours.
Yeah, they had a curfew, apparently. They had to be done by the top of the hour.
Look at that. There's a God.
Thank the UK for that one.
Yeah, I'll give him that. But as far as the match goes and how it, and what comes after that, I really, like, for example, if Swerve won, he's still champ. Whatever he goes next, he goes next. And Bryan gets to say, hey, and cuts the same promo. My contract has expired, blah, blah, blah. But I've signed an extension until Wrestle Dream, and I have 3 matches that I want to do, and they are marquee, marquee matches, number 1, but they are victory lap matches for Bryan, but it's bucket list matches, bucket list after bucket list after bucket list. And I don't know how many pay-per-views they have until Wrestle Dream at the end of October. I think at least 2. I could be down for 3 bucket list matches instead of the Christopher Daniels run where, well, if I lose a match, I'm done. Okay, and he lost, and then it was over, and it was a little bit more deflating than just this is the match you should lose. And here's the thing after that, and I know you're shaking your head, but Wrestle Dream is in Tacoma, Washington.
Right. Once again, looking a little telegraphing here.
Yeah, 1,000%. Listen, you on and off watch, as I know now.
Right.
What hasn't been predictable at this rate? In terms of like,
isn't that the problem?
For sure, absolutely for sure. This is why, like, you can't even get mad at the dirt sheets and the journalists and whatnot, because at this rate now, even Dynamite, I mean, did they not waste any time to go the super predictable route with Ricochet right now? Like, it's just what it is at this rate now. It is all about the dream matches, the fantasy booking, the Reddit threads of, man, I wish this can happen. Cool. Here you go.
But okay, so based on that fact, though, What I said before was Bryan signs an extended contract for 4 matches, and they are A++ bucket list matches for him and for fans. That is something different than Bryan's next opponents on whatever shows that he does, where you can obviously go, there's no way he loses to this person, this other person they bring in, and this person. When Wrestle Dream is in Tacoma, Washington, and he's the champ, and he's already said, once I lose, I'm done. Why wouldn't you? I mean, you're kind of telegraphed it till October. So even though Nigel McGuinness would be a hell of a match to retire him on, you know damn well they're not going to pull the trigger on that in Peoria when they have the Tacoma Domes, waiting for them.
I got a feeling they're going to run Swerve back. That's
Personally, I understand what you're going with that, and I'll go with another guy,
Darby.
I think Darby.
Either one makes sense in the Pacific Northwest.
Darby makes too much sense. That's why it's not happening.
Right. but true. But that's saying it's so unbelievably predictable that based on the fact that Bryan won, and based on the fact that he cut the very expected, I know I'm beat up with a broken freaking neck promo again. You can't. There's no way in the blue hell that you're going to convince me that they're doing anything before Wrestle Dream in Tacoma, in front of all of his friends and family, in front of, let's just say Darby. Hell, let's just say Swerve. Let's say Nick Wayne. Bring out all of Seattle. Bring out Kevin Durant, Sam Perkins, Detlef Schrempf, Sean Kemp, all of them. All the Sue Bird, all of them. You know, put Aubrey Edwards, she's from Seattle, put her in the ring too. Ken Griffey Jr., all of them. The whole damn Seattle, Tacoma, Bellevue, all of them. They coming out there. Nintendo, Mario's going to make an appearance. All of them.
Starbucks.
All of them. Microsoft. All of them. It's a whole Seattle. There's no way.
The fish market. Throw them in there.
Exactly. They're going to be throwing fish in the crowd. All of it. The whole the Kraken going to be out there. The whole damn thing. Marshawn Lynch is the special guest referee. The whole damn thing. There's no way that they're going to do anything before Wrestle Dream. So now, for me at least, and you can disagree, and that's cool, but I don't really have a reason to give a good goddamn.
I mean,
until October.
Yeah. Go ahead, Will.
I mean, that's all fair, and it is what it is. I think it's definitely the most obvious shit in the world. Is like, okay, they get to Wrestle Dream, it's got to be either a rematch with Swerve or it's got to be Darby. One of the two. It's flip a coin. Either one makes sense. Pacific Northwest guys. It's got to be one of those two. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah. Well, we'll get to that soon enough with all that deal. But yeah, I mean, I think plenty of stuff in wrestling's like that. So that part doesn't bother me so much. Especially with that would bother me more if like the Tacoma show wasn't happening until like January or something, where it'd be like, oh, they're punting like the next like 3-4 months. At least right now we're talking like, all right, month and a half, 2 months tops. We're not talking a huge amount of time. So that doesn't bother me too much. But well, the contenderships in the meantime, yeah, we can do a little better on that to make things a little bit more interesting. But we'll talk about that when we get to Dynamite. I also agree with the part about, the title versus career stip. Clearly, that cast a shadow over things from the beginning. That's like, okay, he's probably going to win it, but his family was there, so they're going to give him a big moment either darn way. So, I don't know. Let me ask you this, because I saw this going around. Comparing this to his big WWE moment at WrestleMania 30. Bryan says for him, this was the moment. This was the one winning the title in front of his family at Wembley. For him, personally, he's all about this one. I saw a lot of people online being like, that's bull. It's like, well, hey, for him, if he dug it, great. But I don't know. What do y'all think? Compared to WrestleMania 30, I think they're different. They're both big moments and they're different.
Why would you start contention at the place that employs you? Like, you supposed to say these days. Yeah, like, but the people online, they're always going to be mad at stuff. Yeah, there's absolutely. He said what he was supposed to say. And as the fans, the whole WWE thing is much different because the build-up of the night built the momentum up. So that was a little something we've seen different. Obviously, facing Hall of Famers and it's just really special, and he can say it was in front of family. He has his daughters and stuff now, but wasn't it still in front of family then? Because he had he was married then, I would assume, or if not, they were still dating. But you know, family's still family. Big deal either way. Both pivotal points in his career, regardless. Anybody that wins the Super Bowl. I mean, listen, LeBron would say that his favorite one was with the Lakers, outside of him winning it for his hometown, outside of him winning his first one with Miami. Like, it's just the things that people say. So no surprise there.
Nobody would say, I mean, like, you wouldn't expect us to say, you and I will, to say, like, our favorite podcasting moment was on a different show in front of the boss. Whether it's true or not doesn't make a damn difference.
It's the political answer you got to give.
Right.
But 1,000% political.
Yeah. 100%. So, I mean, it doesn't matter. And I think when the book comes out, then we know what it really is.
1,000%.
Yeah.
1,000%. Or his comedy tour. I can see him trying to be I could see him trying to do one of those comedy runs after this too.
Right. But that's also like, I mean, it really kind of is what it is. And let's say, so like, you know, I really wish that or actually, because I'm looking at the AEW schedule until Wrestle Dream, and that is actually October 12th in Tacoma, Washington. So it's not as late as I thought it was. Mm-hmm. As Full Gear is the week before Thanksgiving, and All Out is September the 7th, not this weekend, but the weekend after. So actually, Wrestle Dream is their next pay-per-view after All Out. So they basically have
6 weeks away, maybe?
6 weeks. Yeah, 6 weeks to get it done. So that's 6 Dynamites, that's 6 collisions, but realistically, we're talking 7 shows max, because, you know, why would you do that?
With that being that close, then I could see them going with the Nigel and him match there, and letting like Swerve and Darby be on the match against the card against each other for number 1 contender at I'm about to say Full Gear. I don't know what I was about to call it. I can see something like that. Let's talk about some of the other stuff on the card.
Yeah, so I was gonna say I want to talk about the rest of the show. So I'll throw out the 2 other things on the show that really stood out for me that I thought were awesome. Of course, going in last week, we were all straight up like there was one match we were looking forward to. I think all of us were on the same
and
page.
It delivered.
Hell yes, Mariah May, Tony Storm hit a damn home run, and it was only the second match on the show. Yeah. It killed. I think it delivered on every front, lived up all the possible hype that was behind it. Loved that match. The other one I will throw out there, I liked the Casino Battle Royal. I'm scratching my head about how they finished it and who they went with winning it. But the match itself, when Nigel returning with the surprises they threw in, I thought it was a hell of a lot of fun, and it was a good palate cleanser in the middle of the show. I just don't know about going with Christian as the winner. That's all I'm going to say about the rest of the show.
I'll add to the Casino Battle Royal that the commentary really played into the Nigel and Danielson story for down the line. I think that was a good bit. Nigel getting over, I mean, how could he not? But he looked good, man. And him getting his moments in, getting his spots, that was definitely a good moment. But I'm going on the other end here, and you know, this is going to lose us some subscribers or some viewers right now. So brace yourself. Listen, I've been saying this, and anybody's ever been in close proximity of me in any wrestling event, and this name gets popped up, I've already vented this out to Jamal numerous times, that I do not think that Mercedes Moné is a good wrestler. I just don't. And I know a lot of folks are blaming Britt Baker. And no. I'm not saying she's great, but this is what I've been saying, that like when it comes down to these big matches that Mercedes has been in, there's always been a better dance partner. The other 3 horsewomen have already proven multiple times that they are the superior wrestler. And because they got good chemistry, the flow of it looks good. Not mad at that at all. Some people dance with other people. Some people dance with people better than others. And then when you think about some of the other big moments, as you had other premier talent, such as Bianca, that goes out there and they just look good. Has Bianca even had a bad match yet? Like, seriously? She's had very chill matches. Very consistent, and then she can obviously dig deep in the bag when she needs to. Like, you know, that's just what it is. But like when you have 2 wrestlers who I feel never are not good dance partners, they typically have to lean on others to be that. I just knew it was a disaster to make it, and it was just not a good match. It just wasn't. Nothing about it did anything for me, and this very, very, very. It's like a '92 Honda Accord on the road, and you're just like, damn, that joint's still going, but it's like, is it though? Is it? I just felt like very underwhelmed, but yet very much like I kind of knew it was going to play out like this. So like, it ain't no hating against her, because that's anytime you say any criticism about her, it's always considered hating. She has not been the needle mover that everybody has been praising her to be. This match, big deal match, 1 year for her being in the crowd, now here, did not live up to what it was supposed to be. It didn't do anything for either one of them or the titles or anything of that sort. It's just not what it is. It's just not. So very underwhelming, but at the same time, it was very much what I thought it was going to be. And then I think the only other thing I would say is nope, that's it. I'm done. Jamal, you got it.
Fair enough. So if you had the preconceived notion that the match was going to suck, then it was going to suck. I don't really care for Monet, largely because of how she started and then where she continued on. We've said it before, and I'll just briefly touch on it. I don't know what her gimmick is. I don't know, like she's a CEO, but so what? There's so many iterations of that type of gimmick that it really doesn't mean anything anymore. As far as Britt Baker goes, she was hurt for a long time. She just came back. The build wasn't great. The match isn't necessarily the spiciest thing. And then they decide to and it's also for the secondary women's title, and they put the main women's title on second on the card.
Yeah.
That also didn't help, because if you are the other women's match, and those that want to compare are going to go, well, we just saw the best women's match already 2 hours ago. And then if you are, and then because it doesn't really have the stakes, Tony versus Mariah is arguably the best storyline ever in AEW history.
Yeah. I'd say so.
Arguably. Yeah. Maybe some recency bias there, but arguably.
Yeah. Also, I would say this is one of Tony's best run in any promotion from the whole transformation to Hollywood Tony, I guess we can call her,
right,
all the way to this point. I mean, she's been on a killing spree. And also, we caveat that by saying that is in the midst of all the things that we've been criticizing the women in the women division not getting chance or being a focal point, and Tony has made a way to stay relevant and be just beyond relevancy, but become an actual star,
All right. And they killed it. And they, hell of a story, good send-off, cool. It's for the women's championship, and yet it went second. And it still killed, because that's what it was going to do. But I don't know why you don't put Mercedes and Baker second or earlier in the card, because realistically, the match on paper isn't as spicy as it needs to be. And I'm not even talking about just the people in general. I'm just talking about how it's built. It could have been any two women, just how that thing was built from the ground up. That's not a co-main event, ladder in the card type of a match. It really isn't.
Well, we got to the end of the show when it hadn't happened yet. It ended up going on second to last. I was surprised it didn't go. I was surprised it didn't go on right before the main event. I was starting to think Mercedes was going to be like, hello, I'm a former WrestleMania main eventer. I'm a semi-main event. But, I don't know. Something jumped out at me.
There's no reason why that match should have gone 17 minutes.
Yeah.
That's also a thing too. So there was a lot of other outside things working against the match in general. So yeah, AEW really didn't do anybody any favors by putting it where they put it in the card. You could argue that Mercedes and definitely Britt Baker are not as good as they once was for a number of reasons. Neither of them are a decent promo at best. So it was just set up to not be as great as it should be. I don't know. I need something else from Mercedes. I need something else.
That's been the story since she showed up there.
Yeah.
I mean, an ongoing theme that we've had.
Right. I need something else. I need Saraya, for example. she's getting a lot of shit because of the promo that she cut at the media scrum afterwards. Fuck this, fuck you, you're cool, fuck you too. Yeah, the whole deal. And then her boyfriend, bit of a weird guy, but she's leaning more into his kind of late 90s edginess that he's trying to get over that doesn't work. It's a whole thing that's just a weird thing in general. I like that persona more than I like Mercedes.
It's definitely not as bland. It may be abrasive.
It may not be what I'm looking for, but I understand it more than Mercedes, and at least I know why I'm booing her. I don't like Saraya because of the gimmick that she's trying to portray. I don't like Mercedes because she's just not good.
I mean, we done seen Mercedes for a very, very long time. And again, I'm not discrediting the big moments that she's been a part of, but I'm telling you that those big moments, much like the Mariah May and Toni Storm, is because what's happening on both sides of the table. And in this case, Britt Baker, I guess she's a face, but is she? Because it's hard to be a face when, one, the controversy around your name puts a dark cloud over your head, number one. And you can say whatever you want about how they present you in the ring, but we also know that what happens outside the ring plays a part into it. Just ask the Bucks about how they went on this whole thing about they don't like me, they don't like us anymore because of this, and that. How will we recover? People tend to care more about the stuff outside the ring more than what happens in the ring at the time. So you have a heel versus a heel is already doomed for disaster, just that alone. Then on top of that, too, because even if Britt was take everything away from outside, her baby faceness isn't truly a baby face. It's more like I got my college degree, I'm the smartest person in the room, respect me type of thing. It's like, okay, well, that's not going to go over well because that actually doesn't mean anything, to some folks. So the CEO versus the dentist. What? How does that work? But the CEO versus like the hugger, the ultimate baby face, which is like why I said back with Willow, I said I was very worried about Mercedes going over Willow because what would it do to her? It could ultimately kill all the momentum Willow has, or it can make them both better. Obviously, it did not affect Willow at all. And for somehow, some way, the person that went over, it also didn't help them either. There's just a lot of there's not good pieces that are working with this gimmick and how they presented her and everything that she's doing right now. I mean, granted, maybe we'll talk about it in a year, things getting better, but for right now, nothing that they're trying to do has just not been working. So I don't know.
Yeah, no idea.
All right, let's switch gears. We've been talking for a while, so let's go to halftime. When we come back, are we going to have an indie spotlight this week, Jamal?
Yes, sir.
All right, we will do the indie spotlight when we get back. Then we'll get to talking about Dynamite, the road to All Out, and then we'll get to WWE with their big shows this week in Berlin and NXT running in Denver. All that and more, folks. Stay with us, folks. It's a busy show tonight, and we're glad you're here with us. Your Big Old Belt Wrestling Podcast. We'll be back right after this.
A little birdie told me, everybody, that you may be interested in doing some sponsorship and advertising opportunities with us here at Big Gold Belt Media. You know what? You might as well, because we are the golden standard for all of your media needs. Why would you want to go anywhere else? Besides, all of your pre-roll ads, your mid-roll ads, as well as your on-air reads are going to be done by me, Damian G. Yeah, professional broadcaster, Damian G. We do all types of social media promotions. That means your podcast, your IG, your Facebook, your Twitter, and your business website all get shouted out on our network here at Big Gold Belt Media, where we cover wrestling, movies, comics, and more. And you can find out more information and make those inquiries, kids, because, limited time offer here at biggoldbeltgroup@gmail.com. Again, that is biggoldbeltgroup@gmail.com. Why would you want to go anywhere else? I wouldn't. Well, I work here, but I still wouldn't even if I didn't. So again, Big Gold Belt Media for all your sponsorship and advertising opportunities, your podcast, your IG, your Facebook, your Twitter, all of your social media platforms, as well as any business website you want us to promote on our show. biggoldbeltgroup@gmail.com and let them know Damon G sent you.
Welcome back, folks. When we come back from halftime, we like to check out the indie scene here on the Big Gold Belt Wrestling Podcast. So here's Giant Crab Jamal with the Indie Wrestling Spotlight.
And this week we are going up north to Staten Island, New York. They have a show from Warriors of Wrestling. They're doing a show called the King of New York Tournament. Interesting. So the King of New York Tournament, a lot of names that I generally like. Gonna be cool to see who comes out as the King of New York. Darius Carter is going to be there. Dan Maff is going to be there. Marcus Mathers, Danny Storm, Chris Steeler. Some interesting names up there for the King of New York from Warriors of Wrestling. That's a Saturday, September the 7th at the Fun Station, 3555 Victory Boulevard in the middle of Staten Island, New York. So get your toll ready if you're crossing the Narrows or from Jersey. But Victory Boulevard, Staten Island, New York. It's the Warriors of Wrestling King of New York Tournament. Doors open at 6, bell times at 7. General admission is $25 if you want to sit on the front row. Those tickets are going quickly, but they're $30. You can get tickets available online at wowprowrestling.com or warriorsofwrestling.com, or check them out at the door. That's 3555 Victory Boulevard in Staten Island. Warriors of Wrestling presents the King of New York Tournament, Saturday, September 7th, and that's the Big Gold Belt Indie Spotlight for this week.
There we go, folks. Each and every week, always keeping an eye on what's happening out there in the indies, because there is a lot going on these days. The indie shows all over the place. So keeping you in the loop here at Big Gold Belt Media. Let's shift gears to last night now. The fallout of Wembley, the fallout of All In, and the road to All Out, I guess this would be. Some interesting spots last night in that show that I saw here and there. I was in and out of watching last night, caught some things here and there, caught the beginning with Jon Moxley and some odd stuff there, and then I caught the end. And I was just kind of like, okay, they're definitely making some choices on this show. So do we want to talk about Moxley first, or do we want to talk about Bryan Danielson's first challenger? Y'all,
we don't want to talk about Ricochet and predictableness. They wasted no time to put Will Ospreay and Ricochet in the same space. You would have thought that would be something that they would want to build up to pay off to a bigger moment, and maybe that is still what's going to happen. But the fact that we knew the signing was ultimately going to lead to them at some point having a match, but now they're best friends because they got to be best friends first. I just thought they would probably wait a little longer before they get into the same space. But I do love what Pac did to ensure that, he's not overlooked in this.
They're going to hold it off a little longer. Probably
not
too longer. Yeah, let's throw it out there right now. Place your bets. Do they run Ricochet and Ospreay before the end of the year?
Yes.
I bet.
Yes.
I think so. I don't think Tony can't hold back on that. Going him.
They'll do it already.
They're gonna run that 3 times too. Very confident.
You don't think that their best of 7 series is coming down the line?
The Moxley thing is, I don't know. I mean, he's back, and we'll see how that plays a part. I'm not sure just yet. I will say, for the first time, maybe ever, is Marina Shafir? Does she become?
What the heck was that? I wasn't sure about that. I was like, huh? That was a choice.
Yeah. So what is that though? I really don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I think it has a lot to do. I mean, I know he's been very high on her, and maybe this ties into Bloodsport some. I don't know, because
I saw people floating that idea out there that maybe it's some kind of tie into Bloodsport of some sort. Maybe. Yeah. But of course, the big elephant, the people all online immediately were thinking, "Oh, it's got to be Shane McMahon's coming," and I'm like, keep holding your breath on that one. I believe that when I see it.
Yeah, Shane. Listen, Shane not making no money in wrestling right now. His money, his accounts, and what he's doing is beyond this. And maybe he's focusing on his son right now. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not counting Shane appearing, or if he does appear, so be it. But I don't have Shane having no legitimate involvement with AEW. It serves him nothing. Plus, why would you want to work for somebody when you essentially was the owner of stuff for a very long time. Like, granted, it was his father's and whatever, but like he was a McMahon. That was his company. What NFL owner went and goes and works for another NFL owner? You know, you go get another team, another sport or something else, but like you're not going to go work for Tony.
The owner that's never won a Super Bowl.
Don't matter.
I'm not saying, because I think certain things when you're that rich, it's not about the money anymore. And Shane isn't old enough to like settle down and be done and ride off into the sunset. And he's certainly not young enough to just throw money into the blender and do his own thing and brute force his way into existence. So I think he's at that age. He's definitely 50 plus, where you just go, you know what? I have that itch. It hasn't really gone away. I don't want to do all of the work myself, but I really do want to get back out there and do that thing that I actually love to do. Maybe AEW isn't such a bad thing.
Maybe if his
I
name,
I am the McMahon that got away.
Man that got away.
if his name wasn't McMahon, it'd be a lot different story. But I firmly
his
disagree.
name is McMahon, but he's not directly tied with the shenanigans. You could easily say, "Oh, sure," but that was them over there, and I wasn't there for that. I left early.
I don't know.
I'm just saying, it's not necessarily like, it's not so far fetched that Shane could be like, you know what? I'll give it a year. It's not like Bischoff, same thing. Vince Russo's begging for them to call.
I think Shane would go party with Hootie and the boys before he would go take a job from another rich billionaire and work for under them. Now, unless he has a seat at the table, an equal share in stock, sure, but that's not happening.
There is no stock. It's not.
I'm just saying.
Company.
Sure.
But that's what I'm saying though. It's there's much more upside of Shane to get involved than him to try to do his own thing from the ground up. And if he were to get involved, just the moment, and take the money away from it, because whatever, he's richer than Jesus. Nobody cares how much money Shane McMahon has.
Yeah.
The day that Shane McMahon shows up on an AEW television is the day there's a seismic shift in wrestling, period. Just the fact that they sat down for tea in a conference room near DFW was enough to get people's internet ears percolating.
Everybody finds something to get their panties in a bunch, man, with this.
True, that's why we're here. But I mean,
but no, to the point though, the Ricochet and Will Ospreay thing, I thought they would have waited a little bit more. Mox and Saphir, I mean, again, for the first time, I guess I'm maybe interested in seeing what she's up to. And then the Jungle Boy and Bryan Danielson, what? That's as interesting of a choice as Christian winning the Casino Battle
Royale.
There
with it. It's right there with it. Where I was like, I mean, it's a placeholder. It's a match. And I guess the only reasoning I've seen online is people being like, well, it's in Chicago, so he'll get heat because of, old CM Punk. And it's like, you fishing that again a year later? It's like, no.
The crowd gave him nothing on this. Zero. No reason.
That crowd was dead. That crowd was dead last night.
I don't mind it. And the reason why I don't mind it is because if he has nowhere to go, what do you do with him? Because
defend his belt. Are we talking about Jungle Boy?
Yeah.
He has the TNT title. He has his own title. He can be defended.
No. Right. He has the TNT title. I don't have a problem with it aspiring anymore because they've already booked themselves into a corner. It doesn't matter who you throw out there. They can have the whole Avengers, and Bryan's going to tap them out in 30 seconds because he's not losing to Wrestle Dream. You can have the fucking Justice League come through from the Martian Manhunter and all of them. X-Force, all of them. They're not beating him. No one's beating him until October. So I don't mind testing Jungle Boy at the top of the card.
Yeah, that's not the champion though. Like, I mean, he's a champion. Like, there's so many other folks. I mean, you could have went Nick Wayne here. I mean, anybody but Jungle Boy, and Jungle Boy did nothing. And Nick Wayne.
Look, they need a heel to face Bryan. They really are short on like heels that you want to boo. Because if Jericho steps up there, people are going to go out.
Oh boy.
Exactly.
Hey,
Nobody
you know
wants
the biggest heel in pro wrestling. You're just that close. Also, wait a minute. I forgot totally about this, and this needs like 30 seconds of airtime here. What the hell was with Brian Cage and
Wolverine gear?
Yes, and what's the face with Wolverine gear too?
There was clearly, I think, no communication going on in regards to what people were doing, and they both had the same idea. Him and Sammy Guevara.
Yeah,
The double Wolverine girl.
Yes, and this puts Sammy versus Bryan Danielson. There you go. You need a heel that everybody wants to boo easily.
Oh, you don't think that's not going to happen on a random collision?
Yeah,
in 5 minutes.
You're right. You're right.
I mean, I'm looking at the remaining dates until Wrestle Dream in the middle of October, and they're going to be, and this is just Dynamite. They're going to be in Spokane, Pittsburgh. Grand Slam, of course, is at our Ash in New York, Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, Lexington, Kentucky, and then that's all out in Chicago. I don't see any of those crowds, if that's a metric for you to gauge like how over a person is going to give. There's no way that, like, don't even have him wrestle. God damn it, there's just no way.
Probably the only other big Danielson match will be at the stadium show at the Arthur Ashe show. So I would assume he's got to have a match on that, but those other shows he'll probably just either not be there or just do a promo setting up.
It would have to be a handicap tag with Darkseid and Thanos, and I still got Bryan on points. Ain't no way.
Also, kudos to you for guessing Sting coming back too at Wembley. Not for all the reasons why you said
cameo.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, not for all the reasons he said he should, but he did.
I'm just saying.
Also,
came out this weekend.
You're right. Will Ospreay's interest was so badass. Huge kudos for them for working out that deal with. I really did. I was super so. I'm just wondering where the hell did this partnership with Assassin's Creed come from? Like all of this, but stuff with Warner Brothers Discovery, man. There was definitely some things that could have worked with them this week, but that's no here nor there.
Yeah, time is flying.
I liked Mercedes' entrance with the pumpkin carriage and
that was
corgis. That was
way better than the match.
Oh, absolutely. But
that was the highlight.
But she's not royalty; she's a CEO. So
it's all the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Noted.
Yeah.
Noted. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's just like damn. And I watched All In thinking, okay, AEW, this is the moment. This is your chance to wow me, and this is come on,
hook you back in.
Bucks is not on the show. I can watch the entire show uninterrupted. The Jericho match wasn't terrible, even though people just hate Jericho in general. All right, cool. And then they did it again. They just booked themselves into a corner. I guess I'll see it in October. But there's really no reason to watch until then.
I've never been to Seattle, but that's definitely not getting me on the flight.
Well, it's not in Seattle, it's in Tacoma.
Yeah, so it's not in Seattle proper. Yeah.
Right. So
Tacoma is much different than Seattle.
It is not the same. So if you're looking to go to the new or the revamped Climate Pledge Arena where they've had shows before, no, you need to be 35 miles south in the old ass Tacoma Dome, which is made out of wood. Hell of a stadium, but it is not the same.
All right, let's switch gears. Get out of Tacoma. Let's go to Berlin. We got shows this weekend to talk about. Bash in Berlin goes down on a Saturday. Of course, a Saturday afternoon, as we like to see. We love our afternoon shows.
Hey Will, fuck it. Let's go down the car and let's just make predictions. There's
only 5 matches. This is easy.
Let's do it.
Okay, so starting at the bottom. We don't usually do predictions. Okay, women's tag titles: the Unholy Union, Alba Fire, and Isla Dawn against Bianca and Jade. I don't want to see it happen, but I'm guessing Bianca and Jade get the titles back. I like the Spooky Witches as the champions.
Retaining overseas is a merit here. We need Bianca and Jade to separate to go and do their solo endeavors. Retain.
I'm going to go with the Europeans to win in Europe.
Yes.
Okay. I'd love to see it. I think the key here is just either are Bianca and Jade going to stay a team, or like you're saying, it's time to move to the next phase
Definitely
of what
time.
they're doing. Have they run their course? So
Definitely time.
we will find out on Saturday. Okay, next up, the strap match. CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. The next phase of their feud. This is tricky. My guess is, okay, CM Punk's going to win it, and he's going to get that damn bracelet back. They're going to put an end to that crap, but the feud ain't going to be over. They'll go, because they got hell. Bad Blood's up next after this. They got to do some big, like, Hell in a Cell or something there. This is just going to be the next phase, but they'll get rid of the damn stupid bracelet storyline here. That's
I'm going for the European to win in Europe.
Drew has a
Drew
movie coming out.
Drew back again.
Drew has a movie coming out, The Killer's Game. You don't want to mess up any momentum with all the press that he's getting around it.
Batista has a movie coming out. Drew McIntyre has a 3-second cameo in it.
No, he's in it. He's in it significantly, and he's nice with it.
I think the movie's even sponsoring the match. I'm pretty sure I heard it. So Drew McIntyre probably got his win right there when that happened.
Oh, there you go.
We'll see. We'll see. All right, next up, mixed tag team match and possibly the hottest match on the show. Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley against Dirty Dominic and Liv Morgan. This, you could go either way on this. I would say right now, the way things are going, my gut says Dirty Dom and Liv got to do something shady and somehow sneak it out by some shenanigans of some sort. Because New Judgment Day needs, they still need the steam on them right now. That's my gut.
Yeah, 100%. I don't have a problem with the New Judgment Day. They're one of the hottest things going to WWE. Absolutely.
Yep.
All right, all agreeing on that one. All right, there we go. Okay, WWE Championship, Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens. This is kind of like the your Bryan Danielson needing an opponent.
Cody Rhodes ain't losing to a Wrestle Dream. Look it. He can't lose.
Cody ain't losing here. No. It's a house show title defense. They'll have a good match. It'll be fun. I think the only question is maybe does Kevin turn? Does Kevin do anything underhanded? That's probably the only story of the match is that.
Yes.
Which it could go either way.
Yeah. Yeah. Matt, you talking about you on the surprise. What if Kevin won? Holy hell, will we have stuff to talk about?
Curveball. Be a curveball. All right. Last but not least, the big one for the World Championship. Randy Orton versus Gunther for the title in Berlin. I don't see a damn scenario in the world where Gunther ain't winning in Berlin.
Yeah.
I actually think that Gunther would be the European to not win in Europe. And I say that because WWE has done that before where they set him up for the major hometown show. And they'll give you one, but they won't give you both.
That's true.
So I think that if McIntyre wins, Gunther loses. And I think that McIntyre is more likely to win.
Yeah, that's like smart casino booking right there.
Yeah.
Gunther wins. Randy losing does nothing for him, but Randy losing does a lot for Gunther and his legitimacy. But I also think too, this is a bad predicament for Randy because we need to start shifting Randy towards a legitimate breaking the championship reigns, not streak, but the most championship
title reigns.
Yeah, title reigns.
The Flair Cena record. He's behind by a belt or two.
And honestly, I think there's money to be made with Cena and Orton with one of them having a title.
Oh, they got to run those two back next year for sure. You know that's going to happen.
With the tiebreaker for who's going to win. Like that is money to be made there. So I don't know when and how they do it, but I don't think
Orton needs another title run.
He needs another title run. I just don't think it's just yet here. So we'll see.
Okay. All right. So that's Bash in Berlin going down on Saturday afternoon. Let's jump to Sunday night now. We come back to the States and we go to Denver for NXT No Mercy. Going down there now. Do we just want the same deal here? We want to run through the show or we have 6 matches on this Thursday?
Yeah.
Do it again. All right. Women's Championship, Roxanne Perez defends against Jada Parker, the hot up-and-comer.
Jada.
I think I got to go Roxanne. I gotta go Roxanne. I don't think she's
I like
losing just
Roxanne,
yet.
but she's outweighed her welcome here now. There's way too many times it's time for her to let a younger person get the shine.
New face.
Yeah, new face.
Yeah, I agree. I think that and also just because I saw it just before we started, Jordan Grace and Jada Parker going back on and forth on the Twitter machine would be nice if it were champion versus champion.
Okay. Maybe the next move they do after this. Okay, there we go. All right. Women's North American title. Kalani Jordan, who just won the title at the last pay-per-view where they did the big ladder match to crown the first champ, versus Wendy Chu. I figure this is a straight title defense. Kalani Jordan gets a win. I don't see it being any more than that. I think it's just get this title some shine on it. Since it's so new. That's my guess.
I see Wendy winning here. I think she got her legs back under her. And looking good and healthy, and the gimmick is really working.
Someone who helped her the other night show up, maybe?
Jamal, what did you say in the group chat about Rosemary? What is
what is she doing in the performance center?
If y'all don't get the joke, it's the whole what is whoever doing in the Impact Zone reference. Except it's the reverse. Rosemary, what is she doing in the performance center? I gotta say, shout out to Rosemary and her longevity, man. What a career she's been having, and I tend to not just throw this saying around too often, but like she really do deserve this moment of being able to get
I was very happy to see it.
Very, very happy. And I'm just very happy to see the women also getting some of the forbidden door love in this, where it wasn't always like that. Because at this point now, Joe Hendry has a under the table deal with NXT, so we're not going to really consider that the forbidden door no more.
Yeah, I mean, he's done everything but sign the lease. They gave him the keys already.
Yeah,
he's got his pass to get in there after hours.
Yeah,
know that at this point.
Mm-hmm.
All right, North American Championship, Oba Femi, who's been an absolute monster, versus Tony D'Angelo, who is also not too shabby himself. I think we got a title change here.
Really?
I think Tony D somehow sneaks this out, and he's been there since they did the 2.0 launch, since they did the rebrand. I think they're gonna push him up. And Oba, I could see getting transferred out of this, and them getting him. I think they want to get Oba Femi maybe in a better position for the CW launch coming up. I think Tony D sneaks it out somehow. He squeaks it out.
Yeah, that's not where I was going to go, but I agree now.
All right, let's see. Next up, Tag Team Championship. Okay, here we go. There's the rematch from the title defense last time. So Nathan Frazier and Axiom tried to regain the titles against Chase U. Chase U got to retain. Chase U got to retain.
1,000%.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I can't imagine why they wouldn't.
All right, we're all in on that one. Okay, the big grudge match: Wesley versus Zachary Wentz. The Rascals explode. My gut says you got to go with the NXT guy here as opposed to the Impact guy. I think Wesley does something. Maybe the third member, maybe he's the key to the whole thing.
Maybe I would love to see Wentz get the win, because that shot about him only being a TNA guy, man, that hit below the belt.
It'd be good for the Impact partnership.
It 1,000% would. And I also think that there may be opportunity for this match to go back over there and make some noise as well too. And we know Wesley, Desmond Xavier got a lot of love for the Impact Zone, and a lot of circumstances is why this trio of them have been together behind the scene the entire time, but apart on screen because of whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I think there may be a measure of loyalty in order to make sure that this match gets ran back on the other brand as well too. So
yeah, I could see Wentz winning, but Wesley isn't a gracious loser.
Yeah,
and one of those, leaves him laying afterwards.
Yeah. Also, really quickly, Wentz being back, I think him winning would also be the ultimate sign of faith that NXT, Shawn
The
Michaels,
door's open to return.
Yeah. That it's all good, you know.
There's layers to that one. You're right about that. All right. Last but not least, our main event with special referee Trick Williams. Do you believe in Joe Hendry against Ethan Page?
No.
I gotta say,
Hey, but if they do,
I think that crowd's gonna be hot for Joe Hendry, and I think he'll have a hell of an entrance of some sort. I don't see Ethan Page losing that title till we're on the CW. I almost got a feeling the CW premiere might be Ethan Page and Trick Williams, something to that extent. So I think this is just hot match for the month, but all eyes on the CW come October. That's my
unless Joe Hendry, unless they put a contract in front of him and say, so if you decide to just let us buy you out of that contract,
strap you up tonight,
strap you up right now. Yeah, it's not happening yet. So
yeah, I can't imagine it would.
All right. I like how we did this. We tore through both those shows really quick since we were so heavy on the AEW talk in the beginning. Yeah. We are at our hour. Is there anything else you guys want to throw in? Because that's all the topics I wanted to cover.
Well, just real quick. We don't know what the situation is officially, but Nikki Bella, her husband, Artem Chigvintsev, was arrested for domestic violence in California earlier today. So, I know that everybody wants to react swiftly and judge, but realistically, not entirely sure what the entirety of the case is. So just got to wait for all the facts to come out before you get your nooses and your pitchforks. So let's just see what happens. And of course, wish the best for everyone involved, but particularly Nikki and her kid. It's a terrible thing to go through, and it's but you still gotta wait, for the facts to come out. We don't know. I don't know what the full of it is, and let's just wait and see what happens. But
the only other thing I saw about it in the reporting was that whoever it was involved with it did request total confidentiality regarding the reports that were made with police. So doesn't sound like we're going to be getting any specifics unless it leaks out some other way. So I think the key thing here is don't go assuming things from what little information is out there about it, because there's just no way to know from what we know.
And the last thing, if you are on October 5th, if you are going to Bad Blood in Atlanta, let us know how the Dragon Ball Sparking Zero event goes, because apparently they're bringing it across the country to different skate parks and other shows, Vegas, Portland, Oregon, Bad Blood in Atlanta.
Excuse me, sir.
So
excuse me, sir. Don't worry about that. I think that was all I needed to know, that I'm going.
The move has just been made.
I made a small message to a friend of mine over there with the Bandai folks. I was like, "Oh, isn't that a coincidence?"
Yeah. So if you want to see the towns that's coming, if you want to see if it's coming to a town near you, DragonBallSparking0.com/road tour. But they're going to Bad Blood in Atlanta. So what the hell does this mean? I don't know. Maybe the one of the uncovered universes is the WWE universe. I'm just saying.
Universe 14.
Yeah, exactly. Universe 12 or something like that is the WWE universe. You heard it here first.
All right, there we go. Let's wrap it up. We have done our hour, folks. We are here each and every Thursday night, 8 p.m., streaming live on Twitch, YouTube, X, anywhere we can get the signal up. We are streaming live. Podcast version goes up shortly thereafter if you're looking for audio. Video version lives on YouTube. So tons of ways to watch the show each and every week here at Big Gold Belt Media. On top of that, on the social media platforms, it's Big Gold Belt across the board. And of course, the website, biggoldbelt.com, the home of Big Gold Belt Media, entertainment, comics, movies, and more. Since we have the boss man here, what other stuff we got going on the website, non-wrestling wise? Because we talked about the McMahon stuff earlier coming, but I know we got Queen of Villains coming up. We're gonna be working on that soon. But what else is going on in the entertainment space on Big Gold Belt Media?
I got an interview with the director JJ Perry from The Killer's Game, and while there's so much I could really talk about with the film, he definitely gave flowers to Drew McIntyre and his work, and also the work of just WWE wrestlers being able to step into that space and what they do on a day-to-day basis. I mean, how he really broke it down is something that I'm sure a lot of us has thought, but I haven't really heard too many people say it. So I'll just send you in that direction to check out that interview. It's only 5 minutes, so shouldn't take too much of your time to go check that out. So yeah, that's the thing. And then I think next week we have Holiday on Monday, but we got Beetlejuice on Tuesday. So talking about that very soon. Very, very soon.
There we go. Stuff starting to happen as we head towards fall. All right, folks. We will see you next week. Thanks for joining us here tonight. Click that subscribe button, all that good stuff. We will talk to you then. Watch some wrestling in the meantime, and stay safe and stay cool this summer. Next Thursday night, we'll be back right here. Talk to you soon.